Do it right, build wealth, live life, economic empowerment, real tips, insight on the new Black Wall Street. It's on the new Black Wall Street. Here's your host. The new Black.
All right, man. Good evening to you, beautiful people. Thanks so much for joining us again here tonight on the new Black Wall Street, as we are going to be having a cannabis stock investing session here tonight. It's a pretty good time. I'm limited on time, but I said we're going to do this, so I'm going to knock out as much as I can in the time that I have. I'm your host, ERGJ, your certified financial educator, CEO of ERGJ Enterprises and the Black Bazaar. Also, I'm international best-selling author of the book, The Black Billionaires Club. The book that I wrote, guys, The Study of Black Wealth, is a study of the 12 richest Black people in the world today and how they built their wealth. And I just truly believe that if you want to be wealthy, that's a big if, by the way. But if you do, I recommend that you study wealthy people. And one thing that the wealthy people do is they invest. They allow their money to go work for them. And I believe we're at a wonderful time in history where we, number one, we have access. That means that there's the barrier to entry is very low, and it's available to us. And so, in the past, yous and eyes of the world just simply didn't have access. But with the spread of technology, with internet and smartphone, you literally can make money from your phone. And but it's just all about a matter of, number one, having the courage, number two, deciding to study and learn, and then number three, taking action. That's what it comes down to. Anyway, while you guys are connecting, go ahead and like button and share button if you care. Like button and share button if you care. Also, I'd love to know where you're connected from this evening. We're across the World Wide Web and the Facebook, YouTube, and all these different places. We understand it's the World Wide Web, so you could be anywhere in the world. We are international at this point. Global is how we do. So we do have brothers and sisters all over the world that may tune in, have found us some kind of way, but we've been putting out content for quite a while. I'm broadcasting from our mobile studios here, virtual studio, here in Decatur, Georgia. That's right, Decatur, where it's greater. And I'd love to know where you're connected from. So go ahead and say hello, good evening, all that good stuff as well. Don't be so quiet, and here's the thing, man. There guys just come say, I'm come get some free information. Listen. Now, let me preface this by saying that this is not investment advice. I'm not going to give you investment advice tonight. I want to be a resource for you to help you to be able to find some stuff, know where some stuff is, and then you can further your education on your own. Or you can also decide to connect with our crew that we do this on a regular basis, and that is in the Black Billionaires Club. So if that's something you decide to do, you don't want to do it on your own, but you do want to connect with brothers and sisters who are looking at this stuff, having these discussions, and trying to find. We're actively seeking ways to make our money grow. If you're saying, "Hey, I'm like-minded, I want to get around like-minded people and have those type of conversations," versus I'm always around people who are talking about spending the money. No, we always talking about how we can make this money grow. Well, that's going to be at the Black Billionaires Club. Simply go to the website, theblackbillionairesclub.com, theblackbillionairesclub.com. While I'm talking about that, quick advert, we'll be right back. And I'll tell you, right in that book, The Black Billionaires Club, again at theblackbillionairesclub.com, you can find the book. You can also find the club that you can join if you like to do that. It actually inspired me to go further in my understanding or learning about this thing called money, making money grow, making money multiply. I say now that my money is like Bebe's kids. It does not die, it multiplies. I have my money can make way more money for me than I can make for it. And I hope that I encourage you to get to a space where your life is like that. That is no longer that you're hustling and busting, chasing a dollar, but actually your dollars are chasing you. And not only do you have the dollars, but they also bring with them some quarters and some nickels and some dimes and some pennies. So you have a whole army that's working on your behalf. And this is what we do in this world called investing. This is how the wealthy keep getting wealthy. This is how the rich keep getting rich. And this is how the wealth gap keeps expanding. because the rich keep getting rich while the poor stay poor. But they're not just getting rich off their efforts. They're not just getting rich off their time. Their money is continuously growing each and every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And here's the beautiful thing. You and I have very same access, almost. I mean, they still levels up, but we have very similar access to be able to do the same thing. Right? Have our money working for us 24/7, all right, 365. So anyway, get right into this thing, man. Welcome to Wall Street, guys. We had a session 2 weeks ago. Let me go ahead and say hello to everybody, by the way. Is that Dina or Dinah? I don't know, Miss Thomas. Thanks so much for joining us here on YouTube. How are you? Good evening to you out of H-Town. What's going on? She-Rose in the house, man. Vivian Reed, good evening to you. BBC is joining us here today. Brother Aaron is in the house. Thanks so much for joining. Aaron in the house I believe out of Brooklyn as well. We met 2 weeks ago. I did a session, and I'm gonna kind of recap what we kind of covered there. And I want to help you to understand my methodology in my presentation. I figured I would try to start with stuff that is safer. It's not none of it is safe, but it's safer. And so we started by looking at what we call an EFT, which is the exchange traded fund. And an exchange traded fund is basically going to be a basket. Everybody put in the console basket, a basket of a lot of different stocks in one. So if you are familiar with a mutual fund, or you're familiar with probably your retirement accounts that you might have at your job, where you got all these different things in one thing, that's kind of what an EFT is. It's just you can trade it on the stock market. So I said, let me start there by presenting that, so that you know, hey, in case I don't want to take the time to really go and find one individual company, but I do want to have exposure to this sector, which would be cannabis. Well, then you can go to EFT route, and that's going to have exposure to multiple stocks in one. And so we looked at an ETF, I believe it was called MJ, which would stand for obviously Mary Jane or something like that. So we'll take a look at that real quick, see how that's performed over the past 2 weeks. I don't know, I hadn't looked, but some people they found value in that, and so I want to make sure I start by where we left off. And wait a second. That's my Bitcoin stuff. Okay. Yep. Mary. All right. So here is the MJ. It's the Alternative Harvest ETF. Again, it's a safer play because you automatically get what they call diversification. You're exposed to quite a few cannabis related stocks. And some of those are here: Afria, Canopy Growth, GW Pharmaceuticals, Grow Generation Corp, Tilray, Aurora Cannabis, Kronos Group, Hexo, right? They're all in this EFT. So instead of you trying to pick one of those and do all your research on those and everything like that, you could go to the EFT route, or ETF, I'm sorry, Exchange Traded Fund, and have exposure to the sector. Now, what I'm going to do here, because it's been 2 weeks, so maybe look at a month chart. Maybe let me try to do it here over here. It might be. I don't like the chart. This is why I got to go to a couple different places. All right, 1 second. All right, I'm gonna go somewhere else real quick. Let me go to CNN. I want to get a chart that you guys can see a little bit better. So CNN, I'm using Yahoo Finance and CNN for right now. I don't know if I'll end up going somewhere else throughout this thing or not. This is should be I don't know if they have it here. Do they have it? There we go. All right, so we'll look at it here. It's a little bit more user friendly as far as seeing things over here. So this particular ETF is up 35% for the year. That's since January 1st. I want you to think about that for a second. January 1st, 22 days later, this particular stock has rose 35%. And I want you to think for yourself, okay, well, where else am I putting my money in position to get 35% returns in 22 days? Not many places. You might be one of the few that's doing it on a regular, but I don't know too many. Over the past month, which would be back in the end of January, it's up 30%. And if I'm trying to see if I can maybe look at it about 2 weeks ago, it's currently trading at $19 per share. If I do a 10-day, I'll do a 10-day. It was trading at $17, it looks like, or $16 10 days ago. It's currently at $19. So that's $3 on top of a $16 stock, whatever that math is. Okay. So, but it did have some days it's up 8%, 3%, stuff like that. So it's giving us a whole kind of gamut here. So this is what we looked at 2 weeks ago. Again, it's to give you coverage, right? And it concentrates on pharmaceuticals, biotechnology, life sciences group that track the performance exchange listed common stock across companies across the globe. Now, the interesting thing about the cannabis industry is that most of the stocks are listed under the health sector because I think for the most part, they were legalized medically before if any place they are legalized from a recreational standpoint. And I also want to kind of try to make the case for marijuana as well, or for cannabis as well, because here's the deal: we have to understand where we are, and you guys tell me what your thought process is, what you believe, because let me tell you something. This comes down. It really begins with what you believe, right? Here's what I understand about people and money. If you believe it, then you'll be more apt to invest in it. If you don't believe it, then you won't. If you believe it, if you understand it, then you also might get to a place to believe. So it's going to take understanding and belief. Some people are willing to take a risk without understanding because they believe. But I think if you have two of those things, you say, hey, I understand and I believe, well, then you're going to be more confident. Would you agree that, and put your money somewhere because you understand and you believe? So I think those are two things. Everybody put that in common, so understand and believe. So understanding marijuana is more than just understanding the plant and whatever it may do and all that stuff. It's really understanding where we are in society and what's possible for the future. Here's what I believe. I believe that number one, we just had a change in guard as far as our federal as far as our country is concerned, and Joey B is showing, right, based off his actions, not by what he says. He's showing action. He's showing that he is going to do what he said he's going to do. That's what I believe based upon the first 3 days. He may slack off a little bit, but I'm going to go based off his actions. He's going in. He's doing these executive orders. He is he's putting fire to the pedal to the metal. He came in and said, "Hey, what's the best time to start now?" Signed 30 executive orders over the past 3 days, and he pushing forward. Here's also what I believe. I believe that the Democratic Party understands that they have to produce results based upon what they said they were going to do in order for them to have a second term. So for the people who are going to vote for them again, they're going to be like, "Did you do what you said you was going to do?" You had the president, you got the Congress, and you got the House. No excuses. Did you make some progress? Whether that's 60%, 80%, whatever the case may be. So we have something that's ahead of us that says, hey, here's what they said they were going to do. They got the Lift Every Voice plan, the Biden plan, and all that good stuff. They got all the debates and all the stuff they talked about, all that stuff that y'all watched and y'all was laughing about the fly on somebody's head and all that good stuff. And now we're going to have the time where did you get it done? Okay. So inside of this, did you get it done? Part of what they talked about they would do would be cannabis reform, which would be decriminalization of marijuana on a federal level, right? So again, my belief saying, hey, here's what he's shown the first 3 days. At some point, I don't know where it falls as far as the priority level, but I get it. You're going to focus on COVID-19 right now. I get it. But eventually you're going to have to get to the other stuff if you want my vote again. So if I believe that, then I'm saying, hey, this is a great time, quite possibly, to get in before this thing explodes and then have my money explode right along with it as this thing open up, as this new regime is on the clock. Now, here's the last thing I would say about this. I believe we have a president who's going to be remembered for green. One on the energy side, and the other for this green plant that is getting legalized across the country, state to state. But once you get the federal level involved, Now you're really talking about takeoff. Now you're talking about to the moon. You know what I'm saying? That's what I believe. Now, I'm not trying to cast my beliefs on you. I'm just sharing with you thought process from what I've seen, what I've heard, and what I can surmise is going to happen in the future. And this is what investing is about. It's about saying, hey, here's what I think is going to happen moving forward. And do I believe it enough to put my money where my mouth is? Everybody put in console, put your money where your mouth is. Do you believe it enough to put your money where your mouth is? Whatever it is that you believe. Do you believe it enough to back it up with some dollars? Right? It says, what does it say in the Bible about the treasure and money? Something about money and the treasure, something like that. Anyway, so that's some foundation for those who are just that goes beyond just, you know, I smoke weed, right? It goes beyond just what you like about the plant. It goes into spaces where you can say, okay, here's some things that's on the table. Legislation is getting behind this thing, and it's becoming more accepted and popular, right? And then once legislation gets behind it, here's the next thing that happens. They begin to deregulate, meaning that right now, most of your cannabis companies are headquartered in Canada, because Canada doesn't have the regulation that the United States has on these companies in order for them to do business in the United States. So they have to do business in Canada and then import into America to sell their products. Well, what happens if they start to deregulate? What happened to alcohol after prohibition? Right? Some of us, we've been here before, right? I wasn't around when prohibition happened, but I got a little knowledge and history to go back to understand that what has happened in the past does happen again. History does repeat itself. It's just in another form. So that's where, put your money where your mouth. That's just some backup there. So anyway, so as I was looking at this, I said, okay, well, I wanted to, again, I'm going from safer to riskier. And so I'll share another resource with you. I went on the Yahoo. I typed in cannabis stocks, and I was able to find this. So here you have a space here on Yahoo Finance, free again, but it's on the Yahoo Finance. It's not on the Yahoo Entertainment. It's not on the Yahoo Mail. When you go to Yahoo, you click on Finance, right? This is where where people talk about money. So here's the background of this cannabis stock. They're tracking 20 different cannabis stocks and how they're performing. Global spending on cannabis, listen to this, global spending on cannabis worldwide will hit $57 billion in a decade. Everybody put in console $57 billion. That's according to market research and the BDS analytics, driven by the legalization of recreational medical cannabis, which I just talked about, and the increasing demand, everybody put in console demand, for both legal cannabis revenue in the United States is projected to hit $23.4 billion by 2022. That's just a year from now, right? Legal cannabis revenue is projected to hit $23.4 billion by 2022, a year from now. Now, what do you think comes with revenue? What comes with revenue is typically a whole bunch of exuberance and people getting behind the companies that's getting that revenue, because in business, it's all about revenue and profit. Well, who's going to be profiting? The businesses that were providing the product or the service in this industry. And then what are those businesses? That's what we start looking for. What businesses are in position to benefit most and capture the revenue that then turns into profit? Revenue stands for sales, by the way. It's another word for sales, right? Who's going to sell a whole bunch of stuff? Okay, right? Who's in position to sell a whole bunch of stuff? And we're going to be buying it, right? We love us some weed, man. I need some weed, man. Hey, how do we pick these stocks? This is curated list powered by Yahoo Finance's algorithm and intelligence from over millions of users, as well as Yahoo Finance editorial team. This list covers companies in horticulture, pharmaceutical, and ancillary businesses. We will continue to add names as corporations invest and pivot into the space. So this might be a space for you to kind of keep up with, some, I would say, maybe the top 20. It ain't gonna be all of them. You ain't gonna find all of them. But again, I'm trying to get through people into some safer type of ideas before you start going into some, penny land where it might be a little bit more risky. Some of you guys are not ready for that type of risk, but some of you guys are. I'm not speaking to my whole audience at this point, but I know I got a lot of people who ain't never invested before, have never invested before. So I cater to the low hanging fruit before I start getting into. We do more specifics in our group. So how these ways you can look at every store, and we'll look at a store today. So the cannabis stocks here, they were down 0.31 a day, but look, over the past month, all these top 20 combined are up 58%. 58% in the past month. And that's before. That's all off of hope. That's all off of belief. That's all, you know what I'm saying? That's all off of what we just talked about, the projections and what's possible. 58% in 1 month. Let me ask you this. Where else are you giving your money the opportunity to get bring you 58% back from what you put it into 30 days ago? I'll wait, by the way. You know, I mean, maybe somebody got an answer for me. Where else are you giving your money an opportunity to grow 58% in 30 days? AJ Barry, my man, thanks so much, man. Clean and Crew, my sister. I remember your sister. Thanks so much for joining. I believe, you know what? Aren't you? I want to say you the sister in Alabama or something. I don't know. I think I know you. We've talked before, I believe. Clean Crew, development stability. Look at this. Development stability decline. Development stability decline. Okay. Development stability decline. Development stability. Okay. I don't know. All right. All right. And let me make this a little bit bigger. I didn't know it was so small. I'll try to make it bigger for you. Okay. 1 year return for these cannabis stocks, that would be minus 9%. But remember, that would include the COVID-19 in March of last year that it probably tapered off, right? Total return, which would be however long they've been in existence, 327%. So here's like a Yahoo's top 20, cannabis stocks as it relates to, cannabis related stocks. They're not all cannabis stocks, right? So Abbey V, Budweiser, right? You might say, what's going on with Budweiser? Budweiser has an investment into a connection to a cannabis related stock. Altria, Canopy Growth, Stocks Miracle Grow. This is weed too. I guess these are both Canopy Growth here. Here you go, Coors, another beer company that's connected to a cannabis related, that's connected to cannabis in some type of way. GW pharmaceutical company. Kronos Group, Tilray, Aurora Cannabis, New Age. That's another. Look at this. That's another beer company. That's InBev. That's another type of beer company. I guess hops has something to do to maybe they're growing hops and they're going to grow some cannabis, and maybe you're going to see some cannabis infused beer coming down the pike. I think it's probably already out. Probably a thing. Another pharmaceutical company, Green Organic Dutchman, General Cannabis, Terra Tech, and then that MJ that I mentioned earlier. Now, what I thought was interesting, outside of the beer companies, was here, Scott's Miracle Grow. And that's what I want to take a look at today. Scott's Miracle Grow. Now, what do you guys know about Scott's, right? What do you guys know about Scott's? And I'll pull it up over here and look at the chart. Scott's Miracle Grow, which is SMG. Right? I was saying to myself, well, they're gonna have to buy some stuff in order to grow the weed, grow the marijuana, and if they're gonna buy some stuff, they're probably gonna be buying it from Scott's. That's the only agricultural type of lawn care space that I know of that you're gonna get some soil and all that stuff. I don't know. But I thought that was interesting. I started thinking about it. So we'll pull it up here. Again, let's just see how they've done since this whole thing out. So year to date, they're up 16%. Year to date, they're up 16%. They're up 4.66. So obviously a little bit slower moving, been around a longer time. Let's find out what Scott's does. I mean, what's this connection to Scott's Miracle Grow? So here we go. Scott's is in the process industries. They're in the agricultural industry. They got 12.3 billion market cap. They've been around since 1868. So we're talking about a company that has been around for a while. It's not one of your typical cannabis related companies that just popped up 5, 6 years ago, 10 years ago. They've been around for over 100 years. Scott's Miracle-Gro engages in the manufacture, marketing, and distribution of systems or accessories for hydroponic gardening. There it is, hydroponic gardening. It operates through the following segments: U.S. consumer, Hawthorne, and other. And the U.S. consumer segment consists of consumer lawn and garden business. The Hawthorne segment includes indoor, urban, and hydroponic garden. There it is, the Hawthorne section of their business. And other segment includes consumer lawn and gardening business. So the Hawthorne segment of the Scott's Miracle-Gro is where you have your connection to the marijuana, right? Hydroponic garden. Everybody putting council hydro. Scott's Miracle-Gro over the past 5 years, they've been increasing in employees, saying that they're showing that they have some strength as far as their company is concerned. And here's the cool thing as well. It gives you some form of diversification with Scott's, because not only do that's just a part of their business, that all of their business. So if marijuana, doesn't end up being like we may presume it to be, or if Biden don't come through, you can still be invested in a company that's still useful for all the other stuff that they do. Even if the hydro part doesn't pop off like we hope it will. So do you understand why I'm saying it might be for those that's trying to look for a little bit of safe, that might be an area for you, right? Kevin Moore said, yes, soil, right? Absolutely. Thanks so much, man. Hey, I use it in my garden, clean and crew, right? I use it in my garden, right? So this is something that's connected to this industry, but that also gives you that's not solely their business. But they're making it, it's a part of their business. So it's been around for a while. You can also come and look and see how they have done, how they perform. You can look at the kind of money they made and stuff like that. We know that we're missing something here. But at any rate, we see here now. Here's not so good. Looks like they have actually their net revenues. Where we talked about the sales, right? It's actually been kind of flat over the past 3 years up through 2018. Don't know how 2019 was. They don't have that reported here. We'll have to go to their particular website. But we saw it actually increased through the second quarter of 2019. We don't know how 2020 was. They may not report that for a while just because of COVID. But they started seeing some increase in sales in 2019 up to 1.2 billion. We look at their gross income, which is after they pay for the cost of doing business, up in half 500 million or half a billion. That was what that would be. We can also see their net income that not only do they have gross income, but after they pay all their bills and stuff like that, employees and all that stuff, they actually bring home a profit. We see that as well. And this is their books. Everybody putting comments on the books. Publicly traded companies have to open their books. Right, it's unlike being a solopreneur or anything like that, where hopefully you keeping books, right? That's why you got a bookkeeper, accountant, and all that stuff. But you don't have to open them up. Nobody can come into your business and you have to show them how you perform, right? You do have to do that as a publicly traded company. See a balance sheet here. Talks about the stuff that they own versus the stuff that they owe. We see here that their assets actually have been declining. I'm sorry, their assets, their total assets have actually been increasing over time. They own $3.1 billion worth of stuff. We see that their liabilities have increased as well. They owe $2.8 billion. So you're only talking about $3 billion. $300,000 of equity, which is represented here, 354. So what that means is that at the very least, if Scott should go out of business for some reason, they can cover their books because of the equity. They can sell off everything and pay everybody they need to pay, and they can walk away with some money. That's basically what that means. Shareholder equity. Everybody put in console equity. They're above water. You've heard the term that we're underwater, which you might be dealing with a house and the mortgage is more than what the house is worth. That'd be underwater. Right? They're above water, meaning that what they owe is less than what they own. That making sense to anybody? Am I making any sense to anybody? All right. So Scott, okay, so Scott's is actually a $231 per share company, but that doesn't really mean anything nowadays, because nowadays you can with all these different applications and the competition that's out there, you could buy fractional shares just about anywhere. You don't have to buy a full share. You could build, what they used to call share build. You can build your way up to a full share, the same way that you can do with Bitcoin or something like that. So the price, I never really talk about price. I'm never concerned about the price of something. I never look at the price of something before I buy it. As far as the stock is concerned, I look at where it has the possibility to go, and the last thing I might look at is the price. I'm more concerned about the percentages. Can this thing jump up 15%, 20%? And can sales grow 10, 15% if everything pops off with in the hydroponic gardening space? If they legalize, if they decriminalize decriminalize and legalize, not legalize, I forgot the word I'm looking for. But anyway, if they make it so that companies can actually do business here in the United States, where they're talking about make America great again, or Biden said it a different way, then that means they want these companies to actually do business in the United States so that the money stays in the United States, and they can tax those companies the way they want to tax them, right? So if they make that available to them, where they're not overly taxing them, and they're not basically pushing them out because of the deregulation, because of the regulations that they have. If you understand that cannabis companies, they have to pay more to do business in the United States. That's why they chose to do business in Canada. All right. But if they start to loosen those regulations, then you can start to see more companies, set up shop and get get headquarters in the States and employ people in the States and stuff like that. They still do business in the States, but they're not headquarters here. Okay. So $2.31 a share. All right. So this is, you can also see some other stuff here that's pretty cool. You can start looking at their competition. You can start looking at what their shareholders are doing, which would be people who own the company, right? So this James Hagedorn person, he's the CEO of the company. It shows you, what he's been doing with the stock. Talk about back in the last kind of activity happened back in May of 2020, where he did some selling of stock that took place, and he's basically been the only one that's been doing some activity here versus the partnership. So you have a business that's within the business, a limited partnership that's actually had some sales as well. So he's got some partners in in this obviously in this Miracle Grow company Scott's Miracle Grow company that they built. So you can see a lot of stuff here. And all this stuff is public knowledge for you to understand, for you to get familiar or understand more about Scott's Miracle Grow. And then they have this space where they're saying, hey, you know what? We want to encourage people to invest with us. So when you come to their website, Scott's Miracle Grow right here, we try and look at what they do, the products and all that stuff. But we're going to come over here to this tab called Investor Relations. When you're an investor, this is really what's important to you, right? They got to be speaking your language, right? So they got investor relations over here. So here you're going to be able to see, obviously, the stock. You're going to be able to see, we can learn more about that. Their quarterly earnings, which are not updated on those sites. So we can go through all their financials if you wanted to. You can listen to calls that took place. Got financial news, which is important. What's coming up? What's going on? They announced their first quarter call that they're going to have. So if you're an investor, you probably jump in on this call and hear what the big dogs are talking about. What's coming up? What's going on? Got governance down here. Got your proxy statements and annual reports, all that stuff. But I want to click here. I'm trying to see if. So you have your price, and then you got this right here. Got this thing called a dividend. So here is a company that actually pays a dividend. And they actually paid a dividend through 2020. Now, this is interesting. Look at this. Basically, they started in January paying 58 cents. This is per quarter, 58 cents. Last, they paid 62 cents. And then they had an extra special participating or arrears dividend that they paid to their shareholders at $5. Wow, what was that? Now, basically, what we're saying, we're going to take the 62 cents. I'm going to give y'all some other numbers here. So you're getting paid a dividend as well, which is basically saying they're paying you to actually invest with them. And they want to reward you for choosing to invest with them. All right. So 62 cents, we're going to multiply that times 4 because that'd be an annual return. We'll divide that by the share price, which is 231. 0.62 times 4 divided by 231. And that would actually represent a it's not very large, 0.06% dividend. Okay. But it is a dividend nonetheless, not a huge dividend. And that would make sense. I'm actually impressed that I did it wrong. No, I did it right. I'm impressed that they are actually paying a dividend, or they increased their dividend through the pandemic. That's pretty interesting. 62 cents times 4. Oh, divided by 232. I'm sorry, that's actually a 1.06% dividend. I was doing divided instead of multiply. That's a 1.06% annual yield. That's actually a greater yield than most people are getting in their savings account. And you would get that just for owning a stock, and that stock could have the opportunity to actually appreciate and grow in value. So you could actually say, okay, well, let's just say you invested $200 and you got paid 1% on that $200 because you have $200 invested in it over a year. That would then be $2 that they paid you just in dividends, which would represent the 1% rate. But then that $200 that you initially invested, by the end of the year, it could be $231, it could be $250, it could be $300. Who knows? So you got the opportunity to get paid on appreciation or possible appreciation of the asset, as well as getting paid on just owning the asset. Right? Double for your trouble. Everybody putting comments on double. So for those that are looking for dividend income, those who are looking for passive income, this could be, and still have exposure into the the cannabis space. We understand how they have exposure through the hydroponic gardening. This could be an option for you. I consider this to be safe, right? Now it's not going to blow up. I mean, it's not going to, it's not going to skyrocket. It's not going to be a super high growth type of company. It could very well, get high, get high off its own supply. It could very well get high off its own supply. But it's not, but it's been around long enough for you to kind of, and I didn't look at that, by the way. It's been around long enough for us to kind of, I'm going to go back and look at this. It's been around long enough for us to say, okay, well, look at this. Let's just look at over the past 3 years. If I can get this thing to move, to stop thinking. Okay. Let's just look at the past 3 years. So here it is, past 3 years, 120% growth for the past 3 years, right? This is through the whole, what we're going to do with, and it really started taking off in 2019. 2019, 65% growth. 2020, which was last year, by the way, year of the pandemic, it was up 91%. 91%. It was a $100 stock at the beginning of 2020. It's a $231 stock now, plus the dividend. So could you imagine, right? Man, my investment grew 100%, plus I got paid every quarter, right? This small dividend for my ownership of the asset. Oh, y'all like what I'm talking about now, huh? Oh, this brother, what's going on, Keith, man? Double for my trouble, right? Give my money opportunity to grow and give myself an opportunity to get paid off of my ownership. Now, again, I'm not telling you to invest in stocks. My goal here is just to let you know that they exist, and they have some exposure into the cannabis space. And there's some people who this type of asset or this type of stock, it fits their profile. It's what they've been looking for, right? It doesn't include a whole bunch of risk. Now, there's some of us like me and probably Keith and some other people. We're looking for the risky stuff. Right? We young. So we aggressive. We going for it, right? Yeah, that. But this not that kind of stock for you, Keith. I mean, I'm just saying you might want to, over that long portfolio, you might have it over there. But we know what we going for. We going for the gusto. Everybody ain't going for the gusto though. Some of us a little older. We gotta be a little bit careful, be a little bit more careful, right? Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Okay. All right. Now here we see little bit of information here again. $12.3 billion company. They have earnings growth of 14% over last year. Revenue growth last year was 30%. So their revenue grew 30% last year. But I think these are all old numbers. They have a 9.3% profit margin. I like to see that a little bit higher, but they're still profiting. Their next earnings call, their earnings going to be on February 3rd. So in 2 weeks, we'll hear from them about how they've done and what they expect to do moving forward. But this 100% growth that we see here over the past year, right? This 100% growth that we see here over the past year, this is all off of the hope and belief of the cannabis industry. This is all the push of what people believe is coming down the pipe, and probably not even more so now that Biden has been sworn in. Okay. Now, is there anybody here that's saying, you know, I hear what you're saying, and this looks pretty cool, but you know, I don't really know how to actually, if I wanted to, you know, buy this or invest this, I don't know how to invest in this. Is everybody here saying you don't even know how to go and get Scots if you want to get Scots? Is there anybody here saying that? I want to make sure I kind of cover all bases here. You're saying, hey, I like what you're saying, or I don't like what you're saying. And you know, whether it was Scott's or some other company, it doesn't matter. Is there anyone saying I just simply don't know how to go get it if I wanted to get it? I don't know how to go get it. If that's you, let me know. I don't know how to go get a stock. Now for everybody else that's here, I'd love to know, what are you using? What platform are you using to acquire stock if you get it, right? What are you using to acquire? So I'll tell you, I have different platforms. I have different accounts. I have different brokerage accounts, right? A brokerage account it gives you access to the market. It gives you access for someone to go out on your behalf and give you access to the market. So I have a long-term account, which y'all never see. And that is actually through a platform called Ally Financial. So that's where I have all my safe stuff, all the stuff that I believe is going to be, you know, is going to keep doing what it's doing. I ain't never got to sweat, think about it. It's just off doing its own. It's kind of like y'all retirement accounts. Y'all just never look at it, right? I look at my stuff though. Hopefully you start looking at yours too. Okay. So I use Ally Financial, which is a brokerage account, and that's for all of my safe long-term stuff. Okay. Kevin Moore, he's got multiple accounts as well. Then I use Cash App, right? Cash App is for all my aggressive stuff. It's all the stuff y'all see me posting and all that stuff that I started with $60 in March of last year. I'm now up to $22,000. That's I'm aggressive as all get out in my Cash App account. But the reason why I can be so aggressive in my Cash App account, because I've already taken care of my long-term stuff in my safe account. Okay? You know what I mean? Your mama didn't raise no fool. Don't be out there and be all aggressive with all you got. You know, you got to be careful. Everybody putting counsel, be careful. You got to be careful. Okay? That's me unless I acquire through Cash App. Well, yeah, that's one way. So if you know how to acquire through Cash App, then you know how to acquire. That's one way you can acquire. So BitRegard, I use E-Trade and Stockpile is what that's what I'm asking. Absolutely. TD Ameritrade, right? All right. So we have these different people bringing up different things. Robinhood, TD Ameritrade, anybody else, right? So these are places that you can go establish an account. And then you know, and so the process of establishing an account, if you want to go more of the traditional discount route, would be like a TD Ameritrade. That's a discount broker. It's very easy to set up. You just go online, go to TD Ameritrade. I'll show you guys what that look like. And this is for anything. This is not. I'm not showing you this so you can go and invest in TD Ameritrade. I'm showing you this so you know you have where there's a place that you can go to set up an account to invest in anything that you might be interested in investing in. Okay. Here's TD Ameritrade. It's an online discount broker. Okay. You can come here. You can set up an account the same way you go set up a checking account, savings account at any bank. This is a financial institution. They're SEC regulated. You can see that down here at the bottom. Maybe I got to make it a little bit bigger. You see that down here at the bottom, FINRA, member of FINRA. That means that they're basically, you know, they're certified to do business. They are actually owned by the Charles Schwab Corporation. So Charles Schwab is another broker, and I didn't even know this. I didn't know that TD Ameritrade was actually owned by Charles Schwab. So you see what Charles Schwab did? Charles Schwab said, "Hey, we got our main traditional brokerage account. That's for our high end clients. That's for the people that want to walk in. They got $250,000 and they ready for somebody to tell them what to do. All right, we got Charles Schwab. But then, you know, with this new wave of investors coming out that don't want to talk to anybody that are you know, using at the time they were using the PC and they could kind of learn on their own. They created TD Ameritrade, or they bought TD Ameritrade. They probably bought it. And now it's a subsidiary of Charles Schwab. So when you invest with TD Ameritrade, you are actually participating in with Charles Schwab, Charles Schwab is a reputable name. So you come here, you know, you can say here, you know, probably, you know, you want to, I don't know why I'm on the login screen, but you come to their home. I got an account here. I want to open a new account up here, click on that thing there. And then you go through and figure out what you want to do. You'll probably come down here and say, hey, I'm going to open an individual account, right? Open an individual account. There's, you know, sole owner. I'm not tax advantage IRA, right? What you could do here, open an individual account. You go through the process, right? Put in your name, social security number, all that good stuff, right? And you set up your account, okay? You can do that. Here at TD Ameritrade, you can do that at, you know, any of them, right? Right. What do you look for when picking a broker? Well, that's a little. So there are three different types of brokers at this particular time, and I think the biggest difference at this point in time, because things have changed. So you have your traditional full service brokers, what they call them, and which would be a Charles Schwab, a Fidelity, a Vanguard. And then you have your discount broker, which would be a TD Ameritrade, an E-Trade, something like that, Ally Financial. And then you have your trading apps. They're also brokers, by the way. Cash App Investing, Robinhood is a broker, right? They just transact through an app, right? So first, it depends on what type of broker you're looking for. Then it's going to depend on what kind of service you need, right? So if you will go to a full service broker, if you want to go talk to somebody, sit down, shake hands, you got some guap, right? You know what I'm saying? You want them to help you with your full wealth portfolio. Obviously, that's going to cost some money. That's going to be expensive. All right, you're taking up somebody's time for them to service you. As far as the discount broker is concerned, it's all about probably schematics more so than anything else. How well do you like their platform? How user friendly is it to you? I think that's more of a thing. What's the customer service like? Right. Right. Oh, good one. I'm glad you brought that up, Kevin. So those are the things. It used to be about fees, but most of the fees are relatively about the same at this point. There's too much competition in the land for anyone to have high fees and expect to have a whole bunch of clients. So fees is not a really big thing anymore. It's more so about how you feel about the company, right? Or what their offer is, right? They might be offering something, saying, hey, you know, if you come and become a client of ours, you know, we got this offer for the first 90 days. You know, your trades are free, or we're going to give you something. I don't know. So it's probably the offer at this point. But it used to be different. I used to give different advice, but that advice has changed because things have evolved. Okay, makes sense. So but just do a comparison. You know, go out and say, hey, I want to compare broker rates or brokerages, or you know, and it'll pop up and it'll give you some pros and cons and all that stuff. Just do your research. Yeah, free stuff. Yeah, they're giving you free stuff now. I mean, they got to give some free stuff. So Kevin said, man, so he did some research. And he found certain companies that he wanted to invest in, i.e. the hemp industry. And, you know, depending on what you're looking for, that might be a reason too. You can't find it where you are. So I know that Cash App is very limited in what they make available in the marijuana industry, or the cannabis industry, although they're adding stuff all the time. I know that Robinhood has a little bit more there, but they're still limited. So if you start finding stuff that after you do your research that you want to invest in, then you might want to pair that with a company that allows you to invest in it, or a brokerage that actually gives you access to whatever it is that you want to invest in. So I think that's a good route to go as well. So it's all that advice is, yeah, Edward Jones is full service. But they're kind of mixed. Edward Jones is interesting, but yeah, they're more full service than anything else. I think Edward Jones, is more so. Edward Jones I don't think of as an investment company. I mean, they're a broker. I think of them more for life insurance and more for wealth management. But they do have stuff there for you to be able to probably do a self-directed account or something like that. I don't know too many people who use them for that purpose, but I think it's available. Okay. So yeah, so this is, but if there's anyone saying, because I know if it's something new, you still kind of sometimes it's like want to have somebody to kind of walk you through some stuff. I can make myself available. My time isn't free, but if you're saying, you want to get started and the only thing that's holding you up is what you don't know, and you're connected to people that do know, and if you really want to get started, then let's get started. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's cut out with all of the reasonings why you're not starting, and let's just start. Because here's what I learned. Like, once you just start, then you no longer have any excuses as to why you didn't start, because you're moving forward. Yeah, it's done. You're in the game. All right? Everybody put in console, get in the game. But if you, for whatever the reason is, whether it be, you don't quite feel comfortable, or you don't know this, or whatever the case may be, listen, use your resources. You're connected. You see all these people on this chat, on the stream, not just me, all my homies, right? we got you. You just got to want to do it. That's what it comes down to. You got to want to do it. I had so many people keep telling me, whatever the excuse is for them waiting, and it ain't even about money. Right? You can open a TD Ameritrade account without any money. They're waiting on you to fund your account, but get the account open. That could be a step. Everybody putting guys will take a step. And tonight might have been your step. Tonight could have been your step. Right? Could have been your step. I'm gonna take a step by going to this virtual class. That's my first step. Hey, you took a step. How many people said they were gonna be here and they not here? But you took a step. Okay, all right. Hey, I'm be there at 7:00 tonight, brother. Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait for you not to show up too. Okay, but you showed up, and I appreciate you. Okay, take a step. Any other questions for me, though? Any other questions for me? So we take a look at, we took a look again. I've shown you a place where you can come and find, a few companies that you can start to look in and research. I'll go through some of these as I get time, because I know that, my quick kind of like breakdown may be helpful, but there's more to it. You can find more articles and information on these companies that I just don't have the time to go through. I'm doing this on a regular basis. This is what I do. I understand this might not be what you do. Some of you just gonna, start and try, and you're not going to be heavy into it like I am. That's okay. Again, use your resources. Lean on your resources. Okay? Right? So I mentioned earlier, it comes down to belief and understanding. What you understand, what you believe, and are you willing to put your money behind it? Are you willing to put $5, $10, $20, $100, don't matter. Are you willing to put your money where your mouth is? Because to be a person that talks about this industry all the time, right, but not profit from it, I think is ludicrous. I think it's absolutely ludicrous. Oh, man, yeah, it's going to blow up. And, oh, yeah, all this stuff. Yeah, man, I can't wait. You know what I'm saying? To be the person that talks about it all the time, but then not profit from it, what are you doing? What's going on? I mean, that's That's idiocy to me. So put yourself in position to win big, and win now. In the comments below, I'd love for you to share something that you learned today. I don't do this just to do this. I do this to make a difference, and hopefully I made a difference for you here today. There's so much more we could talk about, but I just simply, my time is, I got things to do. And so hopefully you appreciate. Oh, look at that. Rhonda said, look at this. I thought it was something to the marijuana industry when the doctors prescribed my son a pill made from it when he had cancer 15 years ago, and it was illegal on the streets and still is. I hear that. That's what I'm talking about, man. But I'm basically asking you to answer this question in the comments below. Was this worth your time and why? It's a Friday night, Financial Friday, at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We're finishing up at 8. I'm pretty sure you had some other things to do, but you decided to show up. Well, did you get something from it? Because if I'm not giving value, I'm definitely not going to be here next Friday. I mean, why would I come back if you ain't getting nothing from it? That wouldn't make no sense. I do stuff that makes a difference, and if it ain't making no difference, I'll switch it up. Okay? I'll change course. I'll go a different direction. It's okay. All right. All right. Appreciate it, man. Who that? TJ, you have to come to learn. Absolute, man. The word of the week, cannabis homies, man. Ain't no fun, and my homies can't have none. Oh, man. Appreciate you too. Blackberry molasses, Blackberry charisma in the house. My brother, the Newman is the house, man. I appreciate you, brother. And I learned where to open an account. That might be the main thing for some, just where to go get an account. Now, I will say this. If you're, Cash App is cool, but that's for the kind of the youngins. If you happen to be in the 55 plus crowd, close to retirement, you might not be doing Cash App. Okay, just to be honest. Okay, you might want to go, with your Fidelity, Edward Jones, because there's gonna be some other things to discuss with you. By the way, you're in the 55 older crowd. We're talking about retirement. We're talking about we're talking about securing your legacy. So there are gonna be other things we need to be discussing as it relates to your financial picture, other than just investing in cannabis. So I'm going to want you to have a conversation with somebody about your whole scope of your finances. Do you have your finances in order so that when you do decide that you're no longer working, your money's still working for you and it's paying all your bills? Okay, well, let me just get that out the way too. All right, so it's different strokes for different folks. Kevin Moore, pure motivation, man. I appreciate it, man. Brother, my main man. This brother here, he one of the brothers that has been around since I got started. I can't wait for him to tell. I don't even know the whole story. I just know that when I got started, he was one of the brothers that was around, and he's probably watched me for a while, as long as we've been connected. We've been watching each other. I respect the time, man. You never stop learning. I started a year ago. I love learning different perspectives, but tonight's key was research. Absolutely. Appreciate you, man. Absolutely. Something said, man, yes, I had to go back and watch from the beginning, but it made a difference. I started with Cash App, and now I stay connected to grow more in this area. Absolutely. Hey, man, Selena been doing a great job, too. She's been sharing with her community, encouraging people to get started. Miss Thomas said, man, it's worth taking big steps now. Now, I like that. Now. Hey, always because we need to learn how to improve our finances. We know how to spend so well. Must learn how to keep it and grow at BBC. I gave you some insight. I appreciate you, cleaning crew. All right, thank you. I appreciate you. Mr. Court, man, brother, what's going on? Appreciate it. Trying to get more aggressive with these stocks. Hey, absolutely, brother. Absolutely. As I said, man, we discussed this stuff. We got a trading Tuesday that takes place in our group. So if you want to get connected with us again, that's a Black Billionaires Club. Just simply go to the website, www.theblackbillionairesclub.com. You can find my book there, and you can also find your entry into our group. It is a paid membership, but $25 a month. You start getting stuff like this on a regular basis. What kind of difference could that make? What kind of return could you be getting when you start putting yourself into space where we talking like this all the time? So anyway, guys, I want to say thanks so much for tuning in to tonight cannabis stock session here on the New Black Wall Street. I want you guys to remember this, that it takes a village. It starts with us. Let's build as we climb together. We all we got, beautiful people. Matter of fact, we all we need. And thank God, that's more than enough. Until next episode, you know what time it is. Mr. DJ, hit the music.
The New Black Wall Street. Thanks you for joining the show. We gave a lot of great tips, but it's time to go. Take the knowledge we shared, hope you use it and grow. We will see you all there at the next episode of The New Black Wall Street. The New Black Wall Street.